You've been told the secret to wealth is hard work, savings, and playing it safe. But what if that's the reason you're still broke? The truth is, most people don't stay poor because of lack of opportunity. They stay poor because of 5 habits that quietly destroy their chances of getting rich. You might think you're making progress, but if these habits are part of your daily life, you're not building wealth, you're sabotaging it. This is not about cutting coffee or budgeting apps. It's about the mental mistakes that keep people stuck at the bottom. You can change your income, you can change your lifestyle, you can change your entire financial reality, but only if you're willing to stop doing what broke people do. This is the passive path, and these are the 5 habits keeping you broke and how to break them for good. Let's start with the one nobody wants to admit: quitting. You don't need more motivation, you need to stop giving up. Think about how many times you started something with excitement. A business, a new job, a fitness plan, a budget. You told yourself this time would be different, and then something got hard. Something got boring. So you quit. Quitting isn't a one-time act, it's a habit. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. This is why so many people keep switching jobs every year, jumping from one hustle to the next, trying every new passive income idea they see on YouTube. They're not building, they're escaping. Here's the truth most people ignore. Every business has a phase where it stops feeling exciting and starts feeling impossible. That's when most people walk away. But that's also where the real growth begins. That phase has a name. It's called the Valley of Death. At first, you're optimistic, but inexperienced. You think you're about to win big. Everything feels like it's gonna work out. You're energized, hopeful, motivated. Then reality hits. You realize success takes longer than expected. Customers are harder to find, the work feels endless, and suddenly that new opportunity feels like a mistake. So what do? You quit, you chase something else, and you start the cycle over. But every time you restart, you reset your progress. You trade long-term gains for short-term relief. You don't need a new opportunity. You need more tolerance for frustration. Frustration tolerance is a superpower. It's what allows you to sit with discomfort and keep going. It's how you build discipline. Discipline is boring, but boring builds wealth. Everyone wants the shortcut, but the real path to success is long, uncomfortable, and full of doubt. If you jump ship every time it gets hard, you'll never reach the shore. You'll just keep floating in circles. The fastest way to build real wealth? Stay the course. Finish what you start. Next time you feel like quitting, ask yourself, is this actually the wrong path? Or am I just uncomfortable with slow progress? The people who win aren't the ones who start the most things, they're the ones who finish. Now here's the question. If quitting is keeping you poor, what else is stealing your future? Let's talk about something even more dangerous: approval. You don't need permission to build the life you want, but most people live like they do. They wait for validation, they wait for support, they wait for someone else to say it's okay to move forward. This is how dreams die, one quiet hesitation at a time. If you're always asking, what will they think, you're already losing. Approval addiction is silent, but it's deadly to ambition. You don't need your parents' blessing. You don't need your friends' opinion. You don't need social media's feedback. If the people you're asking for approval aren't living the life you want, why are you letting them shape yours? Every time you wait for someone else to say yes, you're handing them control over your future. Here's what approval seeking looks like in real life. You want to start a business, but you ask 10 friends first. 5 say yes, 5 say no. Now you're stuck, confused, frozen. Nothing happens. You want to switch careers, but your family thinks it's risky, so you delay. Another year passes. You want to invest in yourself, but your partner says it's too expensive, so you settle. Again, this isn't a knowledge problem, it's a confidence problem. But here's the secret. Confidence doesn't come from approval, it comes from action. You don't need 100 opinions. You need one decision, your own. Imagine if the only advice you followed was from your future self, the version of you who already made it. What would they tell you to do today? Now do that. Stop outsourcing your direction. Start building your conviction. Everyone who's ever made something big happen started with a moment of rebellion. They did something others didn't understand. They moved. They acted. They took the risk, even when it made no sense to anyone else. That's how movements begin. That's how freedom begins. You don't need a crowd to approve your dream. You need the courage to follow it without applause. You know what's harder than starting without support? Living with regret, because you never started at all. So the next time you hesitate, ask yourself this: am I afraid to fail? Or am I afraid to disappoint people who aren't even chasing their own goals? Stop asking for permission. Start acting with purpose. Now let's talk about one of the most common traps ambitious people fall into: investing money before learning how to make it. Too many people want to multiply money they haven't learned how to earn. They chase investments before building income. They ask how to flip stocks, trade crypto, or buy real estate, but they've never built a skill that generates consistent cash flow. This is financial fantasy, and it's keeping people broke. You don't need a portfolio, you need a profit engine. You don't need passive income, you need active value creation. Trying to invest before you've learned to earn is like trying to build a second floor without laying the foundation. It collapses. Every time. Here's a rule most people never hear. Until you're earning strong money, every dollar you have should build your earning power. Courses, coaching, mentorship, books, skill training. That's where the best ROI is in the beginning. Not in the market, not in a meme coin, not in an index fund. Early on, the fastest return doesn't come from assets. It comes from you. Let's say you spend $1,000 learning a high-income skill. That skill helps you earn an extra $5,000 a year, and that keeps growing. That beats any stock return, and it's repeatable. Your skill set compounds just like interest, but only if you feed it. If you want freedom, start thinking of yourself as the first asset you ever invest in. Your knowledge, your habits, your network, your mindset. That's your real portfolio. The problem is that investing in yourself doesn't feel exciting. There's no app, no chart, no dopamine spike. Just growth. Slow, silent, powerful. Most people won't do it. They'll choose quick bets over quiet buildup, and they'll stay stuck. You don't need to look rich. You need to become valuable. Value creates income. Income creates capital. Capital creates investments. That's the real path. Stop asking, how do I grow my money? Start asking, how do I grow myself so I can make more money consistently? The passive path starts with self-investment. Everything else comes after. Now let's go deeper. Because even if you're building skills and earning more, there's one group of people that can undo all your progress. The people giving you advice. Bad advice is expensive, even when it's free. Especially when it's free. Most people get financial advice from the wrong source. Friends, parents, coworkers, people who mean well but don't have results. Would you take diet advice from someone who's never been in shape? Would you take business tips from someone who's never built a business? Then why take money advice from people who aren't wealthy? It sounds obvious, but millions of people make this mistake every day. Here's what happens. You say you want to level up. You start learning new things. You try new strategies, and someone close to you says, that won't work. That's risky. That's not how we do things. And suddenly, you start doubting yourself, because it came from someone you trust. But trust doesn't equal expertise. Love doesn't equal wisdom. Familiar doesn't mean correct. Sometimes the people closest to you are the least qualified to guide you. Not because they don't care, but because they don't know. If your parents have always worked hourly jobs, they might not understand digital income. If your friends are living paycheck to paycheck, they might not believe in entrepreneurship. If your coworkers complain about Mondays, they might not relate to someone building something bigger. You don't need to argue with them, you just need to stop modeling them. Here's the rule. Only take advice from people who are living what you want. If they're not doing it, they don't get a vote. Your circle is your ceiling. If you want to raise your income, raise your inputs. What you hear, what you watch, what you read, who you follow. Surround yourself with people who normalize growth, who talk about progress, who celebrate money as a tool, not a problem. You don't have to move across the country. You can start by changing what's in your ears and eyes. Unfollow noise. Follow results. And remember this, no advice is better than bad advice. Silence is better than sabotage. The passive path isn't just about learning what to do, it's about unlearning what never worked. Now we've covered most of the internal blockers, but there's one more that affects everything, and it's the most personal. The person you choose to share your life with. Your partner can double your success or destroy your momentum. Who you choose to build with matters more than what you build. You can have the best ideas, the strongest drive, the clearest vision. But if you're with someone who fears your growth, you'll shrink to protect the relationship. That's how dreams die in silence. Money changes dynamics. It adds freedom. It adds power. It adds options. And not everyone is ready for that. If your partner believes wealth is greedy, or ambition is selfish, or success means you'll leave them behind, they'll unconsciously sabotage your progress. Not always with words, but with resistance. Sudden arguments before big meetings. Emotional guilt when you invest in yourself. Disinterest when you talk about your goals. It's subtle, but it adds up. Over time, you stop sharing ideas. You stop taking risks. You stop being you, not because you failed, but because you adapted to their fears. The wrong partner doesn't just slow you down. They reroute your entire direction. Here's the truth. You can't grow wealth while protecting someone else's insecurity. If they resent your rise, they're not your partner, they're your limiter. But the right person, they amplify you. They celebrate your wins. They support your vision. They know your growth doesn't threaten the relationship. It strengthens it. If you're with someone who pushes you to be your best, you'll move faster, think bigger, risk more, and win more. That kind of support is rare, but essential. So ask yourself this: does your partner energize you or exhaust you? Do they encourage your evolution or fear it? Your answer shapes your future. No investment decision will matter more than the person you share your life with. And if this hits too close to home, it might be time to have a serious conversation or make a serious decision. Building wealth is hard enough. Don't build it with someone who's tearing it down behind the scenes. Now that you know the 5 habits keeping you broke, what do you actually do next? Here's your plan. Simple, straightforward, and completely in your control. You're not broke because you're lazy. You're not stuck because you're unlucky. You're here because no one taught you what really keeps people poor. Now you know, and that changes everything. Quit quitting. Stop asking for permission. Invest in your skills. Ignore broke advice. Choose the right partner. These aren't easy fixes, but they are the real ones. Wealth isn't just about money. It's about having the freedom to live on your terms. And it starts with decisions like these. You've made it this far, which means you're serious about your future. Keep going, keep learning, and keep leveling up. If this video helped you, like it. Subscribe to The Passive Path. Drop a comment with the habit you're breaking today. And share this with someone you care about. They might need it more than you think. Wishing you clarity, courage, and real momentum on your path to freedom. Check out the other videos on The Passive Path for more practical steps to grow your income, mindset, and confidence. See you in the next one.